Brett, back with the details this week, and I guess fitting for the end of the details for this 2024-25 season for the Chiefs. We're going to look back at some of the details that potentially didn't go right for the Chiefs when they lined up offensively against the Eagles.
Yeah, and it was a combination of the Chiefs not being able to execute things that got them there, that things they beat good teams with, and in that December stretch run where they're able to beat Houston and Pittsburgh and obviously win in the playoffs and the first and then of course hat tip to Philadelphia, their plan and their personnel. They played what seemed to be a perfect game defensively, but here we see this first one here. I think this was a 2nd and 9 play, and the Chiefs are going to run single back power, and Xavier Worthy is going to run a bubble here. And Jesse, how many times did we watch this bubble get thrown and caught, and Xavier Worthy beat this guy to the sideline and get an explosive play? It seemed like at least 3 or 4 times in the last 6 weeks.
I remember the Denver one for sure because Denver, was copying that play later on with it, and so doesn't happen here.
But yeah, right there. I mean, he like I said, that multiple times he had beat that defender to the sideline, and so he's unable to do that. And instead of the Chiefs getting an explosive play like they had in the past, they get 1 yard.
We'll get to the next play here quickly, Brett, but you talked about the RPO. I remember texting you in early November that something was happening with the Chiefs that we did not expect. 80% of the time that they ran RPOs, run pass options, Mahomes was handing the ball off. With the new O-line, I don't think as much confidence with that, with Mike Caliendo coming around here instead of Joe Thuney. But again, you tell me on this one, if they hand the ball off, potentially there might be a play there. Again, they're throwing the ball in this situation, kind of a culmination of what's gone wrong for them at the back half of the season, especially in the Super Bowl when it came to this different setup that they had.
Yep.
Let's get to the second one here, Brett. What do you see on this play? This one's a little bit different because I know you're pointing out here that the play call is good, the execution is not.
Right. So Hollywood Brown's going to be the number 3 receiver there for this guy in, and he's going to run a wheel. And then you have Kelsey, and that may be Hopkins out the number 1 receiver. It's not all that important. But the Eagles are going to show too high, and they're going to roll that field safety back and double Kelsey, essentially like a cover 1 robber, but it's man coverage here. And this wheel route should be a killer versus man coverage. But what you're going to see is the 2 outside receivers there, they don't create enough traffic to free Hollywood Brown up. And what you have is, as I said, a really good man beater by design that's not able to get open.
Yeah, you're talking about man, Brett. So obviously you're going to have a safety here in the middle of the field. So that leaves the sideline here really open for this pass for the Chiefs. And we've complimented Travis Kelce so much for this rub route here, getting in guys' ways and doing that. And you got Xavier Worthy at the bottom of the screen. We'll just watch this. We don't get it done here.
Yeah. So not enough traffic is created for this defender running with Hollywood Brown right here. So Mahomes looks to that first, and he sees that. And now he's off of it, and then he's in scramble mode because nothing's there because they got Kelsey doubled.
And then he wheels around. Obviously, this play potentially could have been picked on the scramble drill. But yeah, we go back to that play and that moment here with him, Brett. And I'm telling you what, if Xavier Worthy was maybe 1 step more inside here, you talk about like right here, this could have gone for the play.
Right. If he cuts that in, and I know you got to be careful with, the way they're calling offensive pass interference these days, but, the Chiefs have been so good, and we've covered it on here, at creating traffic on these man beating concepts. And that's an example of them not doing it. So what you have these last 2 plays, examples of what the Chiefs have been really good at in this stretch run, so to speak, and they're not getting it done here.
This one, we're going to see a Travis Kelce on the right side and then Hollywood Brown coming across the screen. What do you see on this one, Brett?
Well, Kelsey ends up getting covered here. He's going to look to Kelsey. I think this is 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3 here maybe. So this number 42 is going to do a good job covering Kelsey, and Kelsey doesn't get the separation. He probably, looking back at the film for him, thinking he should have got. But what you see is Hollywood Brown wide open over the ball right there. That would have been a conversion and a chain mover, but you've got the quarterback feeling pressure right there. Giving up pressure on the left side, getting pushed back, probably feels that around his feet. So he tucks the ball and has to throw one late there, doesn't get it done. So if he's able to have a little bit more of a clean pocket or is able to reset in that pocket and just a small hitch up, he's got an easy catch there, or easy throw and catch to number 5.
Yeah, again, just not stuff we usually see from Patrick Mahomes, but he was obviously bothered by the pressure, and we've seen that happen in a couple of big playoff games in his career, obviously against Cincinnati in the AFC Championship game as well. Let's get to this fourth one, Brett. And what are you seeing from this particular play?
The second 14, got a negative play on first down. So the Chiefs are actually going to keep 7 in protection. They've only got 3 out. I think the mindset here of the coaching staff is, hey, let's get half of this back. Let's get us third manageable, right? So if you could see, if you roll it back there pre-snap, you see the depth of the corners. They're about 9 yards. So what I think Mahomes is probably thinking is you're going to get a bail corner down here at the bottom of the screen, and you get what's basically called a free access hitch to Hollywood Brown there. But post-snap, the Eagles are going to change the picture, and they're going to play cover 2 to this side of the field, 4 to the field, which is called cover 6, 2 to the brown boundary, 4 to the field. They're going to roll this corner down at the bottom, and it's going to take away this hitch. And Mahomes, whose process already seems to be sped up at this point, is going to look there. Okay, that's not there. Now I'm going to come back to the front side instead of, throwing to that field hitch if he can. He's in a mode where he's having to make something happen in the pocket.
Yeah, here's the field hitch up here, potentially and having to reset across the entire field. So not an easy thing for him to do. But again, good job by the Philadelphia Eagles in this particular play, because they really caught the Chiefs when in a coverage with it the Chiefs didn't think they were going to get. All right, Brett, got another one coming up here. What are you seeing on this? So
this is the pick 6 here. And Andy Reid, Matt Nagy, they're thinking the same thing we all are. We can't sit in the pocket, right? They're having a hard time protecting. So they get him out. They get Mahomes out of the pocket. They run like a dash concept where they're going to send the back in the flat. Kelsey's going to pin the edge. I believe that's Kelsey. And what you've got is your flood created right there. Hopkins is going to come around across on a drag. But Philadelphia does an excellent job flooding or covering the flood. So you see you've got the short route covered. You've got basically DeJean sitting there right in the middle on the 36-yard line. You got the deep route covered and the intermediate as well. So but you got the intermediate basically bracket right there by 2 players. You got deep and short covered. So you have what are basically ends up being 6 defenders in a third of the field by the time that ball's thrown. You got a safety creeping over there late on the NFL logo. So Philadelphia does a good job. And Jesse, if you roll it back to just when the ball snapped, if you watch this linebacker that's on the Super Bowl logo, you can see him pointing with his left arm, say, okay, here we go. Here comes the flood, rollout, whatever. And everybody's going to that side. So it's good. And those concepts are good because you don't have to sit in the pocket and protect, but they're also easier to defend because you're moving everybody to 1/3 of the field. So they're able to flood their coverage as you try to flood those zones with your routes. And you don't get the stretches.
Yeah, and I know Kurt Warner was breaking down this particular play as well. And just again, some of the details, if DeAndre Hopkins can kind of hang in here a little bit extra and then cut across the field, he makes it so that DeJean here can't cover both of these guys. But as we see, as he crosses across here, it makes it very easy for one guy to cover 2 in this particular zone. And that's really where the Chiefs get in trouble. And obviously the pick 6, we could go, he goes really fast. So we'll go even faster for him to get to this next play. All right, Brett.
Another flood concept here. Now they're gonna do this one from the pocket. They're not rolling out here, but you've got a flood, and Philadelphia has 4 over 3. So they've done a good job. As I said, they played a really, if not perfect, a really strong game, and they seem to have the right calls at the right time. And here they are. They've got the Chiefs so good at flood concepts, made so much money on these throughout the year. They've got them all covered there. Instead of climbing the pocket, possibly Mahomes looks like he's got a pretty clean pocket. Again, easy for me to say sitting here when I don't have that pressure on me, but that pocket seems pretty clean here. If he's able to continue to climb and maybe bail in the middle, he's able to possibly open somebody up. But because of the pressure that he had faced up to this point in the game, he didn't expect that he would have a clean pocket and releases into a sack.
We'll get to this last one here, Brett. This one might be the most fascinating one. Again, a play that the Chiefs, play-wise at least, if you're looking at this, really target this defender right here. Do a great job of it. Have everything open. But sort of the story of the day happens in this particular play.
Yep. Another example of the Chiefs flood the third of the field here. They're going to do it a little bit differently. I think Kelsey's going to run this out down here, and then they're going to bring the other two levels from across the field, and they end up winning vertical. The third level wins vertical because this safety down here at the bottom of the screen picks up the over route, but they don't have the time to throw it. Pressure gets home before Worthy can get that ball thrown to him.
We saw a similar play with Jalen Hurts when he threw the touchdown pass. He's looking at this safety and saying, hey, if you come up, I'm throwing it right over your ear for a touchdown. The Chiefs are going to have this. You watch Xavier Worthy right here on this play. They've got him. This guy settles his feet. He's coming up. They've got Xavier Worthy. They got him for a long gain. He is clear right there. And instead, we see back here with the Chiefs' pocket, Mahomes is already down. So no chance of the play. I think you mentioned as well, Brett, that this is a max protection too for the Chiefs. So a lot of guys here, we're pretty close to it, are trying to block for Mahomes, still can't get the job done. Yeah.
Pressure was there all night. At least they're at least chipping with that. They're leaving 6 in basically, 5 plus a chip, and it was just tough. It was a tough night.
All right, Brett. Well, as a coach, as a former coach, obviously there have been games out there where you want to burn the film or not look back to them. But what lessons are you taking away here if you're the Chiefs coaching staff? Obviously, a hugely successful season, making their 5th Super Bowl in 6 years, 17-2 record for games they were trying to win. But what is the takeaway from this film if you're watching it after the game, and kind of what lessons would you be taking from it?
I think from a personnel standpoint, you're going to see a little bit of what happened after the Tampa Super Bowl loss. That you've got to find a way to shore up the O-line. At a couple spots. I know Trey Smith is maybe out the door. He's probably going to get paid, and it'd be nice to get that left tackle spot shored up to move Tooney back inside. But I think it's just one of those nights that this game humbles you. It humbles you. And sometimes these nights happen at very unexpected times when you least expect it. And it's largely a matchup driven league. And obviously what they've done has worked to get them to this point in this run they're on. But clearly, I think they just ran into a buzzsaw the other night.